developed quite a little following of people who were buying from me. And my husband and I had owned several businesses, and he finally came to me and he said, I think maybe you should decide what we're actually going to do for a business. And I said, I would like a small antique shop. And this is my husband's idea of a small antique shop.
I see.
Yes.
My goodness, there is a lot of glassware in this
Isn't
space.
there? Yes, this is another founding dealer, one of our original dealers. And she specializes in glassware and does a great job with it. Anything from milk glass again to canary pink depression, elegant glassware, modern
Beautiful.
contemporary
Just
stemware.
beautiful. I imagine she must work hard to keep this up because it sells, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and you can see how clean it is, that there is no dust or anything. She's very proud of her booth, and she works continuously on it.
You know, it brings up a good point, Colleen. I know you own the Florence Antique Mall and it's your business, but at the same time, it's really made up of literally hundreds of people who are small business people that all operate their own small shops within your large store.
That's exactly how it's ran. That's a perfect way to describe it. We are home to close to 300 small businesses. So if you want to buy local, if you want to support local, help mom and dad little shops or people who are trying to be single parents, put food on the table and buy something special for their kids, come here and shop, and that's exactly who you'll be supporting.
That's terrific. So not only is this is Small Business America here, this is pure Americana, it's also a great example of the effort to be green and reuse, repurpose. So many of these items have had a prior life, and now they're waiting for their next journey, aren't they?
That's exactly right.
And you know, the quality of the types of goods that are sold in an establishment like this seems to me to be so much better because this is old craftsmanship. This is the way things were made years back, and they can still be had this way where traditional retail shopping is not like that.
That's exactly right. And for the vast majority of it, you're going to find solid wood pieces that are made with wonderful craftsmanship. A lot of times, dovetailed joints, which is an indicator of quality craftsmanship, not just plywood or...
I don't see particle board.
I know. No particle board and little tiny nails holding it together. This will last. It's lasted this long. It will last even longer.
See a nice old high chair here.
A beautiful punch bowl for a special occasion.
Oh my goodness, look at that. I almost overlooked
Isn't that
it.
gorgeous?
That sure is. That sure is. And I'm 5 feet away and almost missed it. So it just shows you, as I mentioned early on, this is not a 1 or 2 hour visit. Here's another one of those showcases that's in someone's booth, and you can see some wonderful items in there, top to bottom.
And as you can see over here, we also have musical instruments in here.
Oh,
Anywhere
nice
from-
guitar.
You'll find quite a few guitars. Accordions have been in here, concertinas, saxophones, a couple of banjos, which go incredibly fast, as well as many, many other musical instruments.
And I see we've come to the end of an aisle here that leads up to those locked glass showcases.
This dealer also offers a wonderful variety of replacement. These are all reproduction, but they are replacement hardware that
Oh,
may be
how
hard
nice
to
is
find
that? How
at
nice
other
is that?
locations. Anywhere from the wooden wheel that may have came off the bottom of grandma's chair, porcelain wheels, to individual little pieces of hardware.
I see that. Pull knobs and handles, things
Absolutely.
like that. That's great.
Latches, anything.
That's great. I see some old telephones here.
The wonderful thing about these is that the gentleman worked for the phone company, and he personally guarantees that every one of them will work in your home. They've all been rewired and adapted to be able to be utilized to today's standard.
These are not reproductions then. These are
not.
real.
These are the original phones, but they have been rewired to be used in your current home.
Well, for those youngsters watching this, these are called dial phones.
They're called rotary phones. You cannot talk to it. It will not do anything.
Oh, I see even a candlestick phone in there.
Yes.
My goodness, okay.
Some of our showcases offer a wide variety and a beautiful selection of jewelry, from contemporary jewelry to truly antique vintage jewelry. We also have estate jewelry, original 14 karat gold and gemstones, as well as diamonds here.
My goodness, just such a wide selection. Why, this one little bitty area here is just filled with some really pretty rings. I see a Mr. Peanut hiding in there. Some old cartoon glasses.
Absolutely.
Look at that.
Who's your favorite character? You know, I always kind of like hot stuff. I know that's no surprise.
Oh, it looks like Casper back there. He's one of my favorites.
It's also a wonderful selection of vintage pens. There's quite a few people who collect vintage pens.
Is there anything you don't have?
I'm not sure.
And even if so, you may have it tomorrow, right?
In case you haven't walked a mile in someone's shoes, we can make that happen as well. As it gets closer to Halloween, this is a wonderful place to come to find unique vintage clothing, ideals, wigs, hats, something to create that really unique look. And at a bargain price.
You know, that's something else, is the pricing tends to be better than typical pricing for things like furnishings and so on. And yet the quality and the caliber of the goods is very high.
Thank
So it's
you.
a nice combination.
You can see there's a Coney Island towel down there. So you're going to find a lot of
Sure is.
local memorabilia as well.
And I see a signed basketball. There's just as you mentioned, there are sports type collectibles, so collectibles as well as more traditional antiques.
And you can go truly retro with Hopalong Cassidy or Roy Rogers, the Big Red Machine, and the glasses from King Quicker up here. I believe there might be a little Abner piece and Chevrolet advertising type. So each booth can offer something unique and individual.
That's terrific. And you know, while we've been walking here, I heard of the announcement that the store will be closing for the evening, so we're asking customers to bring up their final purchases today. Just a reminder again, it is a live, active store. There are customers in it all the time. Things are constantly being sold and new items are constantly being brought in.
This is a wonderful booth that offers contemporary but retired pieces of Fiesta ware.
This is called Fiesta Ware?
Yes, it is. This is not the antique Fiesta ware. It is, however, the retired pieces that are currently being manufactured. So if you haven't gotten
colorful.
the finished pieces or the final pieces to your collection, you can always come here and find them.
That's terrific.
Isn't it
Again,
beautiful?
another resource.
It displays really pretty, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Again, another Victorian bed, not quite so high, so if you don't want to knock a hole in your ceiling, that could be another option for you as well.
You know, so many of these items too I've never seen before in my whole life. It's a lot of one-of-a-kind pieces I see.
Right. This is another one of our hat booths like we talked about previously. And you can see how different and how unique, how much more items this person was able to get in. So each of them is up to the individual to decide how many items they want to put in and how they want to display those items.
And kind of a reminder again, folks, we are getting a tour from the owner of the Florence Antique Mall, That is located in Florence, Kentucky, and this is Colleen Detzel.
Hi.
Colleen founded this mall 15 years ago, and they are currently celebrating their 15th anniversary.
And we're very pleased to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's wonderful in and of itself. The Florence Antique Mall is home to hundreds of individual dealers of antiques and collectibles, furniture, artwork. We're getting a sampling here as we walk through of many of the types of items that are available here, but it just seems to go on and on and on. The Florence Antique Mall is located in Florence, Kentucky, which is in northern Kentucky, about 10 minutes south of Cincinnati, Ohio, in fact. And this antique mall is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Oh, that's a large piece there, and I see a tag on it that says layaway.
That's right. We have a 30-day layaway program here, and we ask that 20% deposit be put down. And that holds it until you're ready to pay out, but the balance is due within 30 days, and it must be picked up in that period of time.
I see. So that piece right there, we're not going to be able to sell. That's already been sold.
That's correct. The only difference would be is if they default on the layaway, in which case the item comes back to the dealer and out on the floor.
I see.
This is a wonderful booth, one of our newer dealers, and he deals a lot with vintage and retro toys, collectibles that are considered more mid-century modern up to contemporary. So you can see there's just a wonderful selection, a little bit of everything. His showcase has been wiped out today.
Well, that's a great thing for him,
It is.
but that'll put him to work bringing in more items.
That's exactly how it works. And as you can see over here, again, we have more guitars,
Right? Some nice musical instruments.
guitar cases, books, children's related items.
See
little
some
bit of
old tennis
everything.
rackets, some sports
Yes.
gear,
Right, cast iron,
toys, kitchenware
Coca-Cola
items.
memorabilia.
And all this is in one small space within a very large store.
Right. Let's go down here. I'd like to show you one of my favorites.
All right. Tell us about this, Colleen.
This is a dealer who's actually set up across from themselves as well. So they have a booth here and they have a booth here.
Okay.
So it makes it easy for them as opposed to the wide open, so they don't feel like they're overwhelmed by the space, yet they still have twice the space. They sell a lot of glassware, a lot of dishes, a lot of unusual little small tables, items that can be used anywhere in your house. So it's very user friendly and it's always a wonderful price. They're normally having a sale, whether it's our birthday weekend or not. So I would really recommend, if you get the chance to get in here, if you're looking for something small, unique, and unusual, definitely come back and check this space out.
Terrific.
And you can see the unfinished quilt top there, a lot of beautiful linens, and they're always pressed, neatly presented, and it just makes a beautiful gift to give somebody.
That's terrific. Now let's take a walk around this corner down here. We'll be right back with you. Hi, Colleen. As we were walking along to turn a corner, I noticed all of these wonderful, high-color, beautiful posters.
That's correct. The vast majority, of course, these are reproduction. But if you're looking for the look of your favorite movie or your favorite movie star or your favorite sports celebrity, these are wonderful, bright, colorful, and they are measured anywhere from an 8 by 11 all the way up to the large actual movie size that you see up at the top.
That's terrific.
So we have movie posters. There is a lot of individual magazine ads based on whatever your interest, whether it's car, whether it's bakeware, or whether it's cameras, or anything that, or smoking. Anything that would have had an ad in a vintage magazine can be used for individual framed art for a unique gift, which makes it a lot of fun for people.
Awesome. That's awesome. I see some albums here as well, so you can get musical albums here.
You know, there's still people who actually have a record player. So for those people, and there's a lot of people who say that nothing sounds like vinyl. We all kind of grew up with the sound of that needle scratching against it. And sometimes we miss that with the high fidelity sound that we have nowadays. So for those people, if you're looking for your favorite recording artist and you want either this to just frame or to actually listen to it, there are several thousand albums here available for purchase.
Terrific. Let's turn around here, and as you can see, we have yet another long aisle.
Yes.
And, can I suggest let's go this direction here?
Sure.
And tell us about
Well, let's go in
this
this way.
room.
Can we go in this way?
Sure.
All right.
You lead the way.
This entire room, on the inside and the outside, belongs to one dealer.
My goodness.
Yes. He's a very hard-working soul. And the furniture is all for sale. The lamps are for sale. All the glassware, of course, all the artwork. Normally, if he has rugs on the floor, those are for sale as well. He thinks he has the best booth in the mall.
Good for him.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because he's located next to our cafe.
Ah, tell us about your cafe.
Our cafe is open on Saturdays and Sundays from noon to about 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's called Judy's Picket Fence Cafe, and Judy runs the place and does amazing fun food and amazing bakeware.
Well, let's take a
So,
quick peek.
If you're looking for some yummies for your tummies and something wonderful to eat, this is Judy's Picket Fence Cafe, located in the back of the Florence Antique Mall. And we recommend that you definitely come out over a weekend and try Judy's wonderful, taste-tempting treats.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
And a lot of these items are actually for sale back here too. So if you're back here eating and you look up and you fall in love with something, odds are we might be able to sell it to you.
Terrific. Well, once again, we've been speaking with Colleen Detzel, who is the owner of the Florence Antique Mall. The Antique Mall is located in Florence, Kentucky.
It is.
Open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those are new extended hours too, aren't
We
they?
started that in May, and it has been incredibly successful, and it was due to our customer demand that we opened extended hours.
Good.
And they are proving to support us, so we'll continue doing it as long as they continue coming.
Terrific. The Antique Mall, as I mentioned, is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
That's right.
Their telephone number is 859-371-0600. You can also find them on the web at www.florenceantiquemall.com
That's right.
and on Facebook and Pinterest,
As Florence Antique Mall.
Florence Antique Mall.
One more thing I'd like to show you. It's on a limited basis, but what we have is we offer a consignment program. So if you have something that you're wanting to sell, we do this on a 3-month basis. You send us a picture of the item you have, and we let you know what we think we can sell it for. You get 60%, and we get 40% of the final selling price. If it hasn't sold in the first month, we take it down 10%. If it hasn't sold in the second month, it goes down another 10%. But we have had an incredibly highly successful rate with our consignment items, and the vast majority of them are sold in the first month. That's why we price it the way we do.
So the table you're holding there, that's an example of an item that's currently consigned?
That's correct.
I see. Okay. Individual booth, and this one's a little different. It is more retro-oriented. Tell us about it, Colleen.
Right. It's either called retro or mid-century modern. And what we have here is, this is definitely more akin to the 1960s, early 1970s, and some of the late 1950s. Certain current television shows, such as Mad Men, has really caused an upswell in the interest of items from that era. And as you can see in this booth, that dealer is trying to capture the essence, whether it's through this starlight lamp over here, or whether it's through these chairs, or the, you can see there's just the vintage typewriter. There is a wonderful example as well.
Old Royal typewriter.
Right.
And that you call that a starlight lamp?
Yes. When it lights up with those stars and the light going through it, it actually can put a star on the wall for you. So it's really a
fantastic.
unique piece. And that is a Seth Thomas, late 1950s, early 1960s wall clock.
I remember them from my elementary school days, which I probably shouldn't say.
She walked uphill to.
Yes.
And this here is, it's been, again, pretty decimated. It was very busy in here today. And this is the back wall of the mall here. As
It's
you're walking
covered all
toward
the way
restaurant.
down, isn't
It's
it?
covered with artwork and with individual flat items. Each of these spaces are rented by an individual dealer. So you're going to see anything from oils to cartoon work to mirrors to sports related memorabilia and advertising.
Oh, this is very colorful here.
Again, very hit hard today. So, but definitely, again, this entire L row tends to be more the mid-century modern, the retro, and akin to that particular era. We try to make it as easy for our customers as possible. We know that time is valuable for everyone. So we ask anyone who's interested in specializing in these type of items that they allow us to put it back here to make it easier for the customers. And it looks better, I think, as well.
It's terrific.
Thank you.
You know, I noticed while we were getting ready to do this walk around, and the store was so full of people that a lot of them are younger.
Yes, we've got a very large, basically from 26 to about 47 client group. And the thing about antiques is that it's based on nostalgia. And the people with the expendable income and our shoppers, their sense of nostalgia is completely different than the sense of nostalgia from when we opened 15 years ago. So you have to stay current and you have to know what your customers are wanting.
Terrific. You know, I have to tell you, I understand that age group that you just said, but I also saw what I would think were teenagers.
We have a lot. It's always amazing to me when children come in and buy from us, but that's our potential future customers. So we're always more than happy to have anyone come and become a fan and become a loyal customer.
Terrific. Well, thanks again for giving me this walk around, Colleen. We really appreciate it. You all have been able to get a fairly quick walkthrough of the Florence Antique Mall in Florence, Kentucky. We're heading up toward the front now, and we thank you for enjoying this little visit with us. But if you really want to see it and understand what it's all about, there's no better way than to come visit it yourself. The Florence Antique Mall on Mall Road in Florence, Kentucky, open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
We know we took this big trip around through the whole store here that you all have done, and folks have been able to see the facility now. And it's a miracle that you have such a variety here, but you have quality. Now, I always like to plug my brother-in-law, you know, he's in the furniture business over at Diamond Furniture Gallery, so I always put a little plug in for him too. If somebody wants to buy something new, you know, they go over to Cold Springs to see Tim Diamond over there across from St. Joe's, and I plug him a little bit on my shows. But if somebody's really looking for an antique, this is where they want to come, is here.
You think so?
We think so too. And because you all have quality antiques, you don't see any new furniture here at all. This is
That's right.
the stuff that's original and has period to it. It's like I say, if you're looking for something that has lasting history, I call these artifacts themselves. Now, you know, when I do auctions and sing at them, and I've sang at a lot of Jack Rickson auctions, and a lot of Milton Maine's auctions and things like that, my old Kentucky home, I always tell folks, you know, if you buy something here today, or you buy something here from the antique mall, you're actually buying a piece of history. It's an artifact. I said, because even though you think it's a piece of furniture, there's a story and a history behind every
That's exactly
piece.
right.
So there's a human element. And I said, if you can find out that human element, it carries on from generation to generation to generation. And that's one of the great things about your booths here and the folks you have working here. They're all very intelligent, knowledge of history, knowledge of the pieces of work that's here. And Colleen, I'm so proud of you. You've taken your mom's sort of mantle there and moved right on with it, hadn't she, Mom?
Absolutely, she is the queen of this, and she's very good at it.
She's very good at it, and she understands the antiques themselves and the importance of them, and I think she looks at it the same way as artifacts. So,
Yeah, the only thing I would change with that is that you have to keep current with it.
yeah.
Because this trade is all about a sense of nostalgia, and it's about a sense of nostalgia for your current customer. And so the people who are coming in buying today are not the same people who were coming in 15 years ago. Some are, but it's a younger crowd who's coming in, and what they're looking for and their sense of nostalgia is completely different than what it was 15 years ago, because you know they were basically children at that time, and now they're trying to recapture that childhood. So our dealers have to adapt and constantly change. There's also an online source, it's called Pinterest, and it's basically an online bulletin board, and people put different ideals from all over. And a lot of it's about repurposing, reusing, and recycling. And the younger generation and people really like the ideal of doing things that are green for the earth and that are good for the environment. And by coming here and finding a piece that might have some distress to it or some age to it, you're able to take it because it's a good quality piece and either put a coat of paint or do something crafty or unique or individual and have a piece that's lasted this long and it's going to last that much longer for them.
And it's, like you said, reusing things.
Exactly.
Very much so.
Recycling things.
Right.
And, you know, at home, I love to sit on my old roll top. I love the fact
They're
that...
still very popular.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And I love to sit, got an old secretary that came out of the very first home in the city of Fort Thomas. And, of course, when I got there, I got that from my wife because she was born in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. And that was a piece that was in the old Collins House.
Okay.
And so you remember those things, and that's part of history. And of course, when I filmed the history of all 120 counties in Kentucky, one of the reasons I did that was to learn about Kentucky. And you learn all about its history and the value of keeping something that's old.
Right.
So your antiques here, some of them are old, some of them are not quite so old.
That's correct.
But they, like you said, your market changes and you got to work with your market, don't you?
That's exactly right.
Now, how is it to be in this business? Has it worked out for you guys pretty well so far?
Wonderfully. Wonderfully. There's a lot of items in the antiquing business. It is about merchandise, but it's about people. It's really all about what makes people happy. So we've got to meet thousands and thousands of different people over the years. We've made a lot of friends. We've made a lot of people very happy.
We have a book filled with thank you notes and personal handwritten letters from people. We try to help people if they're looking for something, even if we don't have it, we try to help them find a source. I remember one lady, she came in, she was very distressed. Her and her brother had been fighting over a family chandelier, and she had it out in the garage. She went to give it to him, and she busted one of the shades. She brought one of the other shades in, and she goes, please, you have to tell me because we're ready to the family's ready to just go to war over this. And I said, you should never fight over things, but we'll see what we can do for you. So I said, well, let me see if I can Google something and see if I can kind of fine tune it for you. And she had the shade sitting there, and I was able to find it online, and for $14 it brought peace back to the family. So,
Sometimes it doesn't take much.
Right.
Now, it's happened to you too. And I probably shocked you when I first came in here and said, I need you two to go do your own interview here, carry the camera. Mike agreed to do that.
Sure.
Right.
And I'm sorry, it's really something to be an engineer. Carry
Yes,
the camera.
it is.
Don't be shocked when you see your results.
That's probably my son Guy calling me now. I mentioned my son there, Guy Stevenson and Amy Stevenson. I saw her leave a little earlier.
Yes, she was one of our customers today.
I'll put this call on. Now, this is probably somebody wanting an antique. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a Stevenson calling. No, it's not my son, though. It's my brother, the guitar player.
Okay.
He's probably wanting to know where am I going to go do the next homeless shelter. We got to go down and sing for them.
Oh,
Every
wonderful.
fourth Friday. We've done that for 15 years in a row also.
That's wonderful. Good for you.
Now, going through the place and interviewing, what was the most interesting thing you all felt about doing that interview yourselves?
I think Mike is always surprised because it's not his nature, it's not his background. He is analytical and pretty organized by nature, so he doesn't tend to be as enthralled with the individual items as I am. But he was very impressed with a lot of the quality of the items and the way that different dealers actually present different themes and the way that everything is clean, organized, and presented to make it as easy as possible for somebody to see what's there, because time is valuable to everybody.
Isn't that fantastic? Now, Mike, would you like to put your 2 cents worth in
would.
about this interview?
I would. Actually, she's quite right. What really jumped out to me, John, is the sheer variety. That there really is something for everyone here. And as I mentioned to Colleen on our way back after we finished walking through everything, I noticed earlier when we were quite crowded, it just really surprised me the number of people that are in their teens and 20s who were in here shopping. A lot of them are getting their first home or their first apartment. Some of them are college students, first time away from home.
Sure.
They're literally doing their own shopping and trying to build their own place. And, 10, 15 years ago, we didn't see so many younger people as we do now. So it is spread, it is grown, there's something for everyone, such a great variety. I like sports, I like things along those lines, toys. There's quite a bit out there that way, but there's other things as well. There were vintage clothing that you pointed out to me that I almost walked right past. I almost didn't even notice it.